Hello everyone, myself Vishnu Vardhan. I am an assistant professor in HAD Institute of Technical Education and Research, which is, which is situated in Kutch district in Gujarat. As I hope all of you are fine and safe in this quarantine life, uh, so I thought to give as an academic help a lecture on maintenance and rehabilitation of structures, which is a basic subject in 6th sem diploma. So the topic I would like to deliver the lecture on demolition and dismantling techniques. So first of all, I would like to give an overview what is demolition and dismantling. Demolition is basically a sequence, and dismantling is to break a structure in certain parts. As we all know that structure is made up of multiple elements and certain joints. So in order to demolish a structure, there are certain methods that should be followed sequentially and a well procedured way, right? So in this chapter, the dealing is based on demolition techniques and methods. So the flow of the presentation would be like this: introduction, demolition survey, objectives, what are demolition plans, how the plan is being prepared while demolishing any structure, factors affecting selection of demolition methods, what are the methods that should be followed while demolition, and steps before demolition. This is the main step which should be followed while demolition of structure, because one should know what are the steps or what are the procedure which should be followed while or before demolition, right? And demolition sequence, what plan should be made is being done in this phase. Then after, safety measures during demolitions. So demolition is a very big task, so the person working in demolition must be ensured safety, right? So in this phase we are dealing with that. And then methods of demolition, which method should be followed, that will discuss in this presentation further. Environmental consent in demolition, these are the main part of the demolition work, because when you are demolishing any structure, the structure will fall down and it will make a major impact on the environment. So the environmental consent is a major task, right? So let us get started with the introduction. The introduction deals with demolition is the dismantling, razing, destroying, or wrecking any building or a structure or any part of the building by pre-planned and controlled method. So, demolition, as I said earlier, that it is a sequential procedure which should be followed and which is pre-planned and a control methods. So control methods, if this is not followed in a controlled phenomena, then it will make a havoc like situation, right? So a disastrous situation can be made if a certain planning is been not done while demolition, right? Second point is demolition is bringing down the building and other structure safely. So that's why demolition is a word, but it in this word we have many terms to deal with, right? And to bring a structure safely, that's a main task in demolition. The demolition of structure with the help of explosive is called an implosion. The explosive means detonators, and it's a one type of method which is being used while demolition of any structure. So explosive is also termed as a bomb. When you're putting a bomb inside the building and you're bursting it, it will make a dismantle like situation of a structure. So that's why we are using explosions. So it is also called implosion phenomena or method, right? The main objective of demolition may be the age of the structure. The demolition why we are carrying out, because if the age of the structure increases, the strength of the structure decreases. So this is the main phenomena while we are dealing with demolition. As structure engineers suggest that every structure has its own life because of the material used inside it. So at that time, we can use these techniques, demolition techniques, to dismantle any structure. So the methods of demolition depends upon two things, that is type of structure, which type of structure is that while demolition any structure, first of all you should know about the structure, whether it is a residential structure, whether it is an institutional structure, whether it is an industrial structure or any other special type of structures. So the type of structure must be known. Second one is surrounding structures. What are the structures with our surrounding? If I take an example of any residential building, if residential is building is being covered by many other high-rise buildings or any other building surrounding it, then one must know while demolition of structure about that things, right? So you can see in this picture demolition of a building. This can this can be seen as an havoc like situation, because while getting down the structure, the pollution, large pollution is being created in the environment, and this will impact the surrounding situation more disastrously, right? So in order to make the things smoother and simpler, we are using certain techniques while demolition of building. So the next thing is that we should follow the certain steps before demolition. The first step is to survey. What type of survey is being needed, that should be done while demolition. The survey like the type of structure, as I have discussed earlier. Then the survey like which location of the building, or what sort of plan is there of the building. And then after, the removal of hazardous material inside the building or outside the building, you should be known about that. Then after, preparation of plan, what sort of procedure should be followed while demolition of structure, that should be done in the third step. And the fourth step is safety measures. While doing the procedure or methods, what type of safety is needed, whether you need a fire safety, whether you need an electrical safety, whether you need a medical safety, and all that sort of things would be come in fourth step, right? So the next, objectives. So why we are doing this, main objective of this demolition is that prevention damaging the neighborhood environment. We are preventing a damaging like situation, we are preventing, so a procedure is being followed so that the neighborhood structures cannot be damaged, and they maintain a smooth environment around them. Repair of damaged structures, you can repair damaged structures easily if you follow these procedures. Construction of other structure at that previously constructed site, you can construct other structures also, and provide safety for the occupants in the building. and you can make a safe environment for the occupants which are already in the building. So these are the objectives. Then after the survey, as I have discussed earlier, the first step is survey. So for demolition of a building, detailed survey and assessment of building is necessary. So a detailed survey is needed, otherwise you can't follow the demolition steps further, right? So it includes, first one is building survey. First of all, the structure should be known, what sort of structure, and in that you need drawing records. You need a building drawing records, any sort of records like plan, architectural drawings, vastu sastra you can say. Then after the material survey, what sort of material is being used inside that, you should be known. Then after hazardous materials, photographs of building to be demolished, you should have a proper photographs. Surrounding buildings, what sort of buildings around the building is, you should be known. Building height, distance from nearby building, whether the building is short or it is a tall structure, you should be known that. A type of building, as I discussed earlier, whether it is institutional, whether it is residential, whether it is an industrial building, you should be known that. And the second type of survey is that structural survey. Drawing records of structural survey should be known. The structural survey drawing records means you should have a proper reinforcement details. What sort of uh, you are using 16 or 25 steel or something other type of steels you are using, that should be properly maintained, record should be known, right? Special structures, okay, that should be known about the structure, whether it is a special structure or not. Then behavior of the structure, structural system, support system, and degree of deterioration, right? What sort of method should be used for the building which should be demolished, right? These are the points that should be covered in the survey. Next, removal of hazardous material, asbestos containing material. In the case when asbestos contained materials are discovered, specialist contractors shall be employed to remove such asbestos containing material. Now, asbestos containing material is an hazardous material because you know that when you are demolishing any structure, you need persons, you need labors, so they should be maintaining their health, right, throughout the demolition. So at this time you can't take a risk like hazardous materials with them. So the asbestos material is an hazardous material, so you need a proper contractor who can uh, help to remove the asbestos material from the building site. The asbestos waste should be handled, stored, and disposed of as chemical waste in accordance with the waste disposal regulations. So, if there is a well specialist contractor, then he can deal with the asbestos type material, and there are certain regulations, waste disposal regulations. So, according to that, he can dispose that waste and the procedures can be moved further. Then the second hazardous material is soil contamination. Why we have to deal with the soil contamination? Because the structure is rested on the ground, which is soil. So the soil must not be contaminated, because ultimately the structure will fall down and it will be resting on the ground, so the structure may get damaged due to the chemical reactions, right? In so in the case when possible soil contamination material is present, specialists shall be employed to prepare soil contamination test proposal and submit such proposal to the environmental protection department for comment. So a specialist is been appointed, and he will make a proposal and submit it to the environmental protection department to make certain comments, and that comments should be properly fulfilled by the contractors that are contractor and engineers that are included in the demolition. Next one is preparation of plan. So the plan preparation is the most important. Based on demolition survey, a demolition plan is prepared. This plan is produced with the application for approval to the local authority. So the after the survey, a demolition plan is prepared, and this plan is produced with the application for approval, because we need an approval with the local authority, because local authority, if they will not approve, you can't go for the further procedures, right? Because they are the ultimate power, right? This plan include plan showing the location of the building to be demolished, and first of all the location must be known, which building should be demolished, building height and structural system, which are the main thing of demolition, extent of damage to the building, and what sort of damage is been already there, that should be known, properly signified, right? And existing structures and facility in the vicinity, what are the existing structures that are already there must be known, and the facilities that are being provided near side of the building. And after the layout plan, proposed method of demolition, proper method which should be followed, it should be signified there. Safety measures, what are the safety measures that should be known, that I will discuss further. Proposed sequence of demolition steps, then after details of equipments used, plan for handling and disposal of debris, and proposed arrangement for site supervisions. So site supervision, what are the which engineers will follow them, which engineers will go for the demolition, and what sort of labor and what sort of contractors, that should be properly signified in the document of application that we will give to local authority. The safety measures, what sort of safety that should be followed in while demolition of structure, that should be like this. Training and communication, what that means, demolition workers including plant or equipment operators shall go through proper job safety training and be informed of the potential hazards by attending training sections as well as on the job training. So the training is very much important, because each and every person dealing with the demolition must know what steps should be followed, how to be followed, and where to be followed, and proper guidance should be there for the operators. So training and communication will deal with that. Then after equipment maintenance, all equipment shall be tested, examined before use. They shall be properly stored and maintained. The equipment shall be inspected daily, and results of the inspection shall be recorded accordingly. So equipment maintenance must be there daily, on the daily basis, because you're dealing with the large tall buildings, so you must test daily. Then after electrical safety, uh, a properly connected power source from a local electrical utility supplier or a mobile electricity generator shall be utilized in the demolition sites. Well organized electricity appliances must be used, because it's a major safety matter. If this is not followed, then there can be a major accidents, okay, like electrical shocks and short circuits. So for that, this is the major safety. Then after fire, all the flammable goods shall be removed from the site unless they are necessary for the work involved. Any remaining flammable goods shall be stored in proper storage facilities. All the furnitures, timbers, doors, etc. shall be removed before any welding work is performed. Firefighting appliances shall be provided and maintained in the working condition. So these are the main things, main safety measures that should be followed during demolitions. So the plan is being shown in this picture. So you can see a slab demolition is been there shown in this figure. As you can see, this direction of concrete demolition is to be done here. So first of all, the demolition of slab is being done from the mid span, and it is being carried out towards the cantilever beam that is being shown in the picture. You can see here a beam is being dismantled, span to be demolished, that is 6 meter maximum. You can see 4 parts of cutting, that is cut 1, cut 2, cut 3 and cut 4. Now what this picture signifies is that first of all you should cut first part, cut 1, you can see there, and you can see on the right hand side there is an anchorage done to the beam, which is signified as an arrow, wire anchored at winch or internal column or beam with winch. Why it is done? Because you can see when the cut 1 and cut 2 is being done, the beam will fall down with a certain force, and that thrust will come down to the surface and it will hit the ground, right? So you can also see a rubber tires that are optional, but practically we need this for sure, because it will damage the beam when it will fall down with a certain height, and the anchorage will make this beam to fall smoothly. That's why a wire anchorage you can see at the right hand side. You can also deal the other parts of the structure like this only, because a supporting system is must while demolition any sort of building. So these are the points. And while dealing with the column, secure the column by wire and winch to existing structure. And first of all, pre-weakening at the bottom of the column. Pre-weakening you should be doing this, because if you are not weakening the structure, you can't break the reinforcement inside the column. So first break away the concrete to expose the reinforcing bars. So first of all, hit the concrete surface, remove the cover from the surface and approach towards the reinforcing bar. Cut the reinforcing bar at the exterior half of the column. Cutting shall be performed immediately prior to the pulling. Immediately you should cut the bar, then after you can pull it, pulling down the column in a controlled motion. It should not be a random motion, it should be a controlled motion. So in this way you can remove the column part from the structure while demolition. And next one is, what are the factors affecting selection of demolition methods? Which factors is being affected while demolition of any structure? Type of structure, different type of structure like load bearing masonry structure, RCC frame structure, steel structures, etc. Size of structure is also matters. If the size of structure is small, hand demolition can be sufficient. For the large structures and multi-storage structures, building special buildings like then wrecking ball method and deliberate collapse method, implosion techniques, etc. are necessary. What this point says is that the size of a structure is small, then hand demolition techniques is sufficient. But if the structure is very large and At that time we should follow the different methods like wrecking ball and implosion techniques, that is explosive technique, right? Then after available time period, what are the time slot that is given to us while demolition of building, that should be known. Location of structure, what and where it is situated, that should be known. The structure where it is situated, that should be known. Limitation of noise, dust and vibrations. Okay. Skills of worker, skill of worker, what sort of worker is needed while demolition of structure, that should be known. And the safety, it is also an affecting factor. The safety is main factor because the persons are important for us. Availability of equipment and adjacent structures, these are the factors that are being affected. Now in this picture you can see there are two types of demolition techniques, that is engineering demolition technique and non-engineering demolition technique. The non-engineering demolition techniques deals with manual demolition, means it deals with a small structures. We don't need any sort of judgment or any sort of procedures. In that situation you can use this, but in large structures you can't deal with non-engineering demolition. You should and must deal with the engineering demolition, that deals with mechanical demolition, implosion techniques and deconstruction techniques. These are the techniques that been used in engineering demolition. The mechanical methods uh, deals with the certain different methods like racking method, pusher arm method, thermic lance technique, non-explosive demolition, concrete sawing method, deliberate collapse method, pressure jetting method and bursting method. These all are the methods that I will discuss in the further lectures. Manual demolition, this is it is suitable for demolition for small buildings, as I have said earlier about this. Tools required for manual demolition like hammer, picks, wire cutters, welding cutters, hand driven hydraulic jacks. So that's for today's lecture. Thank you for listening, and if you have any questions or query you can write it in comments, and also I will make several videos and other chapters available for you within very short span. So thank you for listening me, and stay safe, stay healthy for future purpose. Thank you.